Danny's got first blood. I see Pit Danny's sitting there waiting too. Let's do some firearms, y'all. All right. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. You made it through the week. It's a good day. And we're going into the weekend. It is Easter Sunday this weekend. I hope everybody's ready for that. We're having a big to-do out at the farm, and I'm looking forward to that. But I do have a full docket today, so I'm going to try to wrap this up right around 8 o'clock on the nose this morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. It is Firearms Friday, and I've got a couple of things that I want to cover. Obviously, one of the biggest items in the news right now is yesterday there was a shooting at Florida State University, and then we're on a downer. Well, so 2 dead and 6 injured Florida State University shooting. It's been a minute since we had a school shooting. I'm not sure if we count the universities. In fact, no, I am sure we don't count the universities the same way we do a high school or an elementary school. It's a different situation altogether. I'm not sure about Florida. I'm not sure about the law in Florida, but in Georgia we have campus carry. So, I went after I got out of the Army. I went back to school at Clayton State University. Aaron Olson says there was one in Dallas too. Yeah. And guys, there's something going on. Now, I went back to school. I went to Clayton State University, and I happened to be there around the same time that Georgia passed the campus carry law. Georgia is now, and this is another development since then. Georgia is also now one of the growing number of so-called constitutional carry states. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but maybe that's one. The next time Cameron can do a Saturday show, we do the deep dive on why we say so-called constitutional carry. But point being, I don't know what Florida's law is on campus carry, but I know in Georgia, we haven't seen a lot of this kind of stuff on college campuses. In part because there's a good chance one of the students will put a cap in your ass. And I'm not even talking about we've got a lot of HCBUs in Georgia where sure you got some gang colors and whatnot, but no, there's a better than even chance that some cranky old veteran who's there just spending his GI Bill on some cheap entertainment, basically, says, you know what? I can solve this problem right now. So there's a good reason to go after the campus carry thing, and make sure that is the law in every well, it shouldn't be the law. The law is the Second Amendment, and every law to the contrary is an affront to God and the Constitution. But Pit Danny mentions the shooter got the guns from his mother, who was a cop and didn't guard her guns. Yeah, apparently he used his mother's service weapon. So 2 dead and 6 injured in Florida. Investigators say the 20-year-old son of a sheriff's deputy opened fire at Florida State University with his mother's former service weapon, killing 2 people and wounding at least 6 others. Gunman opened fire Thursday at Florida State University, killing 2 people and wounding at least 6. So the shooter, 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, a current FSU student and the son of a sheriff's deputy, used his mother's former service weapon in the shooting, authorities said. Officers shot him after he refused to comply with commands, and he is now receiving medical care. said Tallahassee Police Chief Lawrence Revelle. So this just happened yesterday, and I'm a little hesitant to spend too much time on the story because, of course, it just happened, and there will be developments. I'm already seeing stuff on Twitter and the like. Some people saying he was a big anti-Trump guy. Some people saying he was a super pro-Trump Republican. I gotta say, if you tell me that the school shooter was a staunch Republican, I assume you're lying. I do, and let me tell you why. For one, we've got this from CNN, where the headline says that the guy made enough people uncomfortable. FSU student describes what suspect was like in class. And you'll note the article just stops, right? There's not much of an article here. CNN's Omar Jimenez talks with Reed Siebold, a Florida State University student who encountered the mass shooting suspect in an extracurricular political club a few years ago. CNN has not independently verified claims about the suspect's beliefs. Extracurricular political club. I wonder what that club is. Well, interestingly, this has a video, and that's interesting. Unable to load video. Please try again later. Source could not load manifest. Could not load manifest. Huh. Okay. Okay. Sometimes problems happen on the internet. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, there's the video. There we go. Let's see what the student who encountered this guy in the wild had to say. Oh, now that's interesting. Okay, I'm playing for effect a little bit here because obviously I tried to load and watch this video earlier today, about an hour and a half ago or so, and that just unable to load video. Huh. Okay, maybe it's just a problem with the internet. Maybe. But it is, given that there's some people on X trying to spread the idea that this guy's a Republican, like, now hold on a minute. We know a little something about political violence in this country. We do. We've seen the evidence with our own eyes over the last 4, 5, 10, 20, 25 years, right? Y'all remember the Columbine shooting. Everybody remembers that one. A month later, there was the Heritage High School shooting. I was there for that one. That was my senior year, right? We were getting shot at before it was cool. It's fun that my first gunfight was not in the Army. It's a funny old world though. But especially in the last half a decade, political violence has been very much the province of the left. During the summer of love, the 2020 BLM riots, we saw more than one Trump supporter who was just straight executed in the street by somebody walking up and just shooting him. Just, hey, bang, 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 dead, murder. And of course, of late, we've seen, I think it was just yesterday, we had this article, this story. Luigi Mangione has been indicted on federal charges in killing of United Healthcare CEO. Now, I'd like to point out that he committed murder. That's a targeted assassination, murder. That would normally be state charges. I suspect that it's being taken up to the federal level in an attempt to get the death penalty on the table, because New York has it's New York's funny. They have the death penalty, but it's on hold. So now I think there's pretty interesting, credible evidence that Mangione is not guilty. But let me like Mangione is not the guy in the video. I don't know that for sure, but he does not appear to match the physiognomy of the guy in the video, the actual shooter. Now, that said, let me back up and organize my thoughts on that on this piece of commentary a little bit. It looks like there's a chance that Mangione might not be guilty. And I think it's important to point that out because we're seeing so much hero worship from the left of Mangione, and not just nut jobs on Twitter, nut jobs with real name recognition. Bill Burr, Taylor Lorenz, right? You're seeing some what's her name? Pocahontas, Liz Warren, Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren made positive comments about it and said this is what happens when the people don't like what you're doing. And that's nothing new. You had Maxine Waters. You get in their face. You tell them they're not welcome. You force them out. When you see them in a gas station or a restaurant, you get in their face, right? These people, violence and the rhetoric of violence is very much their bailiwick. And this is the result of years and years of the Democrats, and most especially Democrat academicians in the colleges and universities, teaching people that speech is violence. Now, you'll hear people say X is Y often. X is never Y. Y may be a subcatalog of X, but X is X, and nothing else is identical to it. So it may be reasonable to argue that certain types of speech, calls to action, explicit instructions, etc., run the risk of resulting in violence. But to say that speech is itself violence is categorically a false statement. X is X. X is never Y. Hell, capital X is not identical with lowercase x. You see what I mean? Right? Two things cannot be the same thing. If they were, they would be one thing. That's a category error. But they want you to believe that calling somebody a bad name or accusing somebody of misbehavior is the same as physically assaulting them. And they do this so that they can create a zeitgeist where violence in response to speech is culturally acceptable. That is the objective of the enemy left. So I don't have much more to say about the FSU shooting, again, because there's just not much there. But I wanted to touch on that and get a little bit of information to you on, okay, so Mangione's been indicted on federal charges. So that means that hopefully we can get the death penalty for him. And I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole on the death penalty. We've discussed it before on the show. I'm very pro death penalty, except that I don't trust the government with that authority. Basically, I believe that we should be making bad people dead because dead bad people don't do the bad thing. But I don't trust the government generally to be the arbiters of understanding what is bad. They've done a very poor job of it historically. So, but with the language that I was discussing, Bill Burr saying free Mangione more than once, by the way. It wasn't just an offhanded comment. He's done it more than once. Taylor Lorenz going on that podcast with I didn't catch the guy's name. young goofy looking dude, and basically saying that Mangione's very sexy and women like him because he's attractive and morally right. He murdered a man. He murdered a man who isn't even culpable in his complaint, assuming for a moment that Mangione's guilty. And again, I'm not sure about that. There is some suspicion that he's not the guy in the video that does the shooting, and that's important as well. The lefties, this is an interesting development. They want him to be guilty. Right, the lefties that are screaming "Free Luigi," they are not arguing that he's not guilty. They're not taking the position, oh, this guy's innocent, and so he shouldn't be facing criminal justice. Blah, blah, blah. Free Luigi, they scream. Well, understand, they don't think he's innocent. This isn't like what's his face. Damn, I lost a name. The guy that helped the Saint of Fentanyl, Saint Floyd of Fentanyl, onto Chauvin. This isn't like somebody screaming, free Chauvin because we think that he's not guilty of a crime, that it was, it was the obvious causes of death, like I don't know, a dramatic overdose of a dangerous drug. No, the people that are screaming "Free Luigi," they believe he did the crime, and they want him to do it more. They're basically begging for vigilante justice. Pitt Danny mentions, Sean, all summer long, it's riot season. Trial just in time for summer break and riots. Exactly like the track meet stabbing, says Stryker. Sergeant Major points out, if all you have for evidence is a video in the age of AI, you have reasonable doubt. Absolutely true. So the fact that the people who are screaming "Free Luigi," they're hero worshiping vigilantism, and it's not even like I can see appreciating some vigilantism, like the father of a rape victim, going after the attacker. Hell yeah, I could see that. I could see really having a soft spot in my heart for that guy. Right? You hurt one of my kids? Oh my God, there's not enough jail time to scare me away from you. Your safety is suddenly not just not guaranteed, it is no longer available. But with the Mangione guy, we're talking about a guy who, assuming he did it, he targeted somebody who wasn't even responsible for the cause of his grievance. Right? It's psychotic. But of course, he has copycats. Luigi Mangione copycat unmasked as his mother reveals why he turned up at United Healthcare ready to ... So, this guy showed up at Ian Stanley Wagner, 26, was arrested on Monday after he arrived at the facility in Minnetonka just 4 months after Mangione allegedly gunned down the health insurance giant CEO in New York. The FBI Minneapolis field office told DailyMail.co Wagner contacted them at around 10:47 and issued threats of violence directed at the United Healthcare facility if specific demands were not met. So Mangione has copycats now. Why is that happening? Because it's happening because people like Senator Warren said it was reasonable for him to do what he did, and we should all understand why he did it. Should we? We should all find that it's reasonable for people to just murder random people. Okay, in fairness, he wasn't just a random person. He was the CEO of the company. So, but but even that, the best you could say is he was connected to the grievance. But the alleged grievance is that the health insurance company denied a health insurance claim. Let you in on a little inside baseball here, kids. The CEOs of insurance companies, they may direct policies, they may direct company policy, but they're not making decisions on approving or rejecting individual claims. They're just not. Right? There's even a solid chance that if you could have gotten him a message, he might have said, "Well, we'll take another look at your case." Maybe. All right. So all that I'm gonna come up off of that, all that nasty, unhappy stuff. It is Firearms Friday, so let me hit you with what is ostensibly some good news, and I say ostensibly because so new DOJ task force targets protection of Second Amendment rights. So U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has announced the formation of a Department of Justice task force dedicated to protecting Second Amendment rights, directly opposing the Biden administration's perceived anti-gun policies. Okay, real quick correction here, and this comes from Concealed Nation. I'm a little surprised, guys, that I'm having to correct you there. Biden administration's perceived anti-gun policies, not perceived. The Biden administration was absolutely an anti-gun administration. Biden has always been an anti-gun guy, right? You know, we had this moment with Biden years and years ago where he showed us that he's just not a serious person.
In fact, you don't need 30 rounds to protect yourself.
Biden just he was always super anti-gun. It's just who he is. Aaron Olson asks, is Bondi going to give us the Epstein files? Honestly, Aaron, I'd be surprised if they still exist. But that's a whole nother conversation. I'm happy to see this because one of my chief concerns with Bondi, she totally dropped the ball on the whole Epstein rollout. And I want to believe that was an error, an unforced error, sure. But she just made a mistake. No, Dad says Hunter is not anti-gun. Yeah, he is. Hunter is anti-gun in the hands of the people. He's a very pro-gun control guy. Just, rules for thee and not for me. It would have been fabulous though to watch his case go up to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court say, no, he's not guilty of anything because the background check was unconstitutional to begin with. And that's what should have happened, but no, had to get him pardoned. Ooh. So my principal concerns with Pam Bondi early on, and I still have these concerns now, but if she's doing this, it alleviates some of that. But she was very much on the side of pro red flag laws when she was still working in Florida. And so that definitely gives rise to some concern. But Trump did give her an order as the executive to one of his employees, to one of his appointees, hey, I want you to go through the system and clean this shit up and get rid of all this gun control garbage. And we've already seen some positive movement on that. The Biden regime period of zero tolerance malarkey, going through and just shutting down FFL holders writ large and creating that absolutely illegal backdoor gun registry. That shit has come to an abrupt halt. That has been shut down almost as hard as the border, which, by the way, has seen 95% fewer crossings since Biden got out of office. So thank God for that. So I am quietly optimistic that Pam Bondi is actually moving in the right direction. So finally, I got you one DGU before I drop a safety brief and get on the road because, oh my God, I got to go to Jonesboro. Montana man shoots charging grizzly while shed hunting. I read that headline and I haven't read the article yet. And I thought to myself, I do love a story with a bear in it. DePoyer, Montana? A shed hunter in northern Montana faced a life or death moment on Friday, April 11th, 2025, when a grizzly bear charged him at close range, prompting him to use his firearm in self-defense. The incident took place near DePoyer, a region known for its rugged terrain and dense brush, a prime area for both shed hunting and grizzly activity. I'm not entirely sure what shed hunting is. I guess that's like, I guess it's kind of like sitting in a blind down, as we would think of it down here in Georgia. But holy shit. So a few years ago, friend of the show, Cade, he posted on Facebook, basically he was out camping with a girlfriend and they're in their tent and suddenly there's a bear sniffing around the outside of the tent. And he posted on Facebook, and you know what I did, guys? I didn't know what to do. So I pulled out my smartphone and I Googled, what do I do if I'm being attacked by a bear? Oh, Cade, I love you, brother. I do. Well, in answer to your question, this is what you do. You shoot him in the face. According to Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, the man had been searching for antlers on a brush-covered hillside when he... Oh, shed? Okay, I get it. Dad says antlers. Gotcha. Not a shed, not a structure. They're looking for the antlers that have fallen off of deer. So elk, deer, the four-legged beasties who are so delicious on our griddles, their antlers, they shed their antlers once a year. Oh, you know what? I'm glad y'all pointed that out. I'm glad we came to that. Let me see. Antler. There's a meme that some of you guys have seen. Antler chandelier. Maybe I can find it real quick. Well, anyway, here's a bunch of them. Just kind of, here's some antler chandeliers. There was a meme that went around not too long ago where this guy had an antler chandelier and I think he did like a Christmas tree out of antlers. And, it was this kind of stuff, which granted looks cool. It looks cool. And in the meme said that no deer or whatever were harmed to gather the antlers, and a bunch of like PETA people. What do you mean they weren't harmed? You don't think you'd harmed them when you shot them through the heart? You evil bastards! And we learned that gotcha. See, turns out that the people that run all the kill shelters that put puppies down because they're unwanted, the same animal rights organizations that took the black bears out of Helen, Georgia, who are bears that do not hibernate for long periods, and relocated them to a much colder region where, by the way, they all died because they have a very different hibernation cycle. Turns out that the people for the ethical treatment of animals don't know shit about animals. Sergeant Major says we need to get a lot more deer to make one for the dining room. That would be excellent. So, anyway, looks like the Montana man ended up slinging some lead at the grizzly as he attempted to leave the area. The adult female grizzly suddenly charged, giving the hunter very little time to react. Armed and prepared, he fired a single shot, fatally striking the bear and avoiding injury. FWP confirmed the bear was a 13-year-old female in good health, weighing about 250 pounds with no known history of human conflict. Her yearling cub was found nearby unharmed. No further management action will be taken regarding the cub. Yeah, Sergeant Major says they know about making money. Hell yeah, they do. Well, they used to. USAID is gone, Dad. No more free money for the sociopaths. So I guess I'll wrap that story by saying I'm not sure I like that last sentence. No further management action will be taken regarding the cub. Without knowing how old the cub is, if it's a very, very young cub, I would kind of hope that it would end up in a place like the bear sanctuary in Helen, Georgia, that doesn't have any bears in it anymore, which breaks my heart. I got to take my older two daughters there, but they got rid of all the bears before we had our younger two kids. So only Vera, my eldest, maybe remembers going there. And that bear sanctuary, guys, if you've never been to a bear sanctuary, if you've never been there, it's awesome. They'll have the bears in these enclosures that you are raised up above, and you can throw food to them. And bears, I shit you not, they will sit up on their haunches and wave at you, and then they'll go and they'll do this gesture with their claw. Bring it on, throw it down, fat boy. I know you've got the donuts. It's freaking awesome. If you've never been to a bear sanctuary, do yourselves a favor. And as a matter of fact, let's take a beat real quick and see if see if I can find a quick video of one of those. That's not it. That is decidedly not it. Okay, so here's one.
Oh, so impressive. So good.
Just
Hello. Hi.
Oh, nice catch. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, go check out a bear sanctuary sometime. You'll thank me for it. Sergeant Major says we are a bear sanctuary. Yeah. I haven't actually seen the bear at Dad's house, but I've seen the signs. So we definitely know that there is, in fact, a bear. So, all right. So, safety first, guys. Really, it's coffee first. Safety's like third or fourth. Mission first. No, it's coffee first. Then mission. We'll get to safety. Risk reward scenario, risk reward calculation. Safety. It's like third or fourth. But so we're going into the weekend. It is Easter Sunday this weekend. Now, every year we hear jokes from the sociopaths, the anarchists, the atheists, etc., about, Jesus is a zombie Jesus, and all that kind of bullshit about, he's undead. Guys, okay, I see where there can be comedy in that, but let's be clear. It's the end of the show on a Friday, which means safety brief. And this year, you need to understand that the full moon is coming up. So the real concern is werewolf Jesus. Right? And make no mistake, you don't want to mess around with solid silver bullets. The metal is too light, too squishy, too weak. You want a hollow point with a silver ball core. so that you have a more traditional bullet that can carry that important metal to the intended target. But all joking aside, if we're being honest, Easter is not one of the high-risk holiday weekends, right? This isn't the 4th of July where everybody's going to be drunk and everybody's going to be drunk and throwing firecrackers off their boats. You should be okay, right? But Aaron's correct. Take your gun to church because there and this is more important this weekend than some weekends, because this weekend, with it being Easter Sunday, the enemy, the kind of people who would go and shoot up a church, this is the kind of weekend that they would do that targeting, because there is a much higher likelihood of a higher population, and evil men, they look for that target-rich environment. And a lot of them seem to think that the churches are not going to be armed. Now, I know that a large part of my audience is in the southeastern part of the United States. I suspect you guys are probably okay. I suspect you guys will probably be okay. So that, all that aside, the other thing, Easter egg hunts, baby. Easter egg hunts are great, but that means a lot of kids running, right? Keep that first aid kit on hand, right? Because you might be looking at some scraped knees or some pricker bushes. We're gonna cut some youngins loose in the grass, and some of us hide eggs on Hurt Me Plenty level. We want them to work for it, especially the golden one that has the $100 bill in it. That's the good one. So you guys be safe out there. I did notice that Uncle Steve is watching this morning, so this will be my last little item before I close out the show. Check that out. Uncle Steve, that is the lens. That is the lens for the Inspire drone. So hopefully I'll be able to get that bad boy in the air tomorrow afternoon and do another test flight with a lens on the camera and actually be able to see how she does in the air. It should be interesting. So thanks for watching this morning, you guys. We love you. Y'all be safe out there, and we will see you tomorrow evening for the MK Ultra special. Y'all take care. And happy Easter, guys.